Norooz is the traditional Iranian New Year. It is celebrated in many countries in the region, such as Iran, northern Iraq, Turkey, Azerbaijan, Afghanistan, Albania, Georgia, the countries of Central Asia such as Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. It is also celebrated among various other Iranian and Turkic people in Iraq, Syria, Pakistan, India, northwestern China, the Caucasus, the Crimea and the Balkans. Norooz marks the first day of spring and the beginning of the Iranian year. It is celebrated on the day of the astronomical vernal equinox, that is the start of spring in the northern hemisphere. This usually occurs on the March the 21st or the previous or following day, depending on where the Norooz is observed. In Iran it is also referred to as an Eid festival. The word Norooz means new day. Tradition dates Norooz as far back as 15,000 years ago, before the end of the last ice age. The mythical Persian king Jamshid symbolizes the transition of the Indo-Iranians from animal hunting to animal husbandry and a more settled life in human history. Seasons began to play a vital part in culture. After a severe winter, the beginning of spring was a great occasion, with Mother Nature rising up in a green robe of colourful flowers and the cattle delivering their young. Jamshid is said to be the person who introduced Norooz celebrations. Prophet Zoroaster was the architect of the pre-Islamic Iranian cosmology, who instituted many feasts, festivals and rituals to pay homage to the 7 creations, the holy immortals and Ahura Mazda. The 7 most important ones are known as Gahambars, the feasts of obligation. The last and the most elaborate was Norooz, celebrating Ahura Mazda and the holy fire at the spring equinox. In Iran, the greeting that accompanies the festival is Eidatun Mubarak. Mubarak means felicitations. Persians, Afghans and other groups start preparing for the Norooz with a major spring cleaning of their houses, the purchase of new clothes to wear for the new year, and the purchase of flowers. In particular, the hyacinth and the tulip are popular and conspicuous. In association with the rebirth of nature, extensive spring cleaning is a national tradition observed by almost every household. This is also extended to personal attire, and it is customary to buy at least one set of new clothes. On the New Year's Day, families dress in their new clothes and start the 12-day celebrations by visiting the elders of the family, then the rest of the family, and finally their friends. On the 13th day, families leave their homes and picnic outdoors. During the Norooz holidays, people are expected to visit one another. This is mostly limited to families, friends and neighbours, in the form of short house visits, which are usually reciprocated. Typically, on the first day of Norooz, family members gather around the table, with the haft scene on the table or set next to it, and await the exact moment of the arrival of spring. At that time, gifts are exchanged. Later in the day, the first house visits are paid to the most senior family members. Typically, the youth will visit the elders first, and the elders return their visit later. The visits naturally have to be relatively short, otherwise one will not be able to visit everybody on their list. A typical visit is around 30 minutes, where you often run into other visiting relatives who happen to be paying a visit to the same house at that time. Because of the house visits, you make sure you have a plentiful supply of pastry, cookies, fresh and dried fruits, and special nuts on hand, as you typically serve your visitors with these items with tea or sherbet. Many Iranians will throw large Norooz parties in a central location as a way of dealing with the long distances between groups of friends and family. Some Norooz celebrants believe that whatever a person does on Norooz will affect the rest of the year. So if a person is kind and warm to their relatives, friends and neighbours on Norooz, then the new year will be a good one. Çarşamba Suri. The night before the last Wednesday of the year is celebrated by the Iranian people as Çarşamba Suri, the Iranian festival of fire. This festival is the celebration of light winning over darkness. The symbolism behind the rituals are all rooted back to Zoroastrianism. The tradition includes people going into the streets and alleys to make fires and jumping over them while singing the traditional song Zardi man az to, sorkhi to az man, which means my yellowness for you, your redness for me. But it means my paleness for you and your strength for me. Serving different kinds of pastry and nuts known as argile mushkel gosha, or the problem-solving nuts, is the Çarşamba Suri of giving thanks for the previous year's health and happiness, while exchanging any remaining paleness and evil for the warmth and vibrancy of the fire.